Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Caithness Amateur Dram Antique Society. Tonight I'm going to use my Wolfburn branded Glencairn to do a tasting of the latest release from the Wolfburn Kvyler series. And this is Wolfburn Sowilo Kvyler Edition 16, bottled at 52%. So the Kvyler series, not never sure how to pronounce it. I've got all 16 of these bottles. I've not reviewed one here before. I've done a few Wolfburns, and this is my latest one. So the Kvyler series. Uh, well, at Wolfburn, they have the odd special cask that they feel delivers a distinctively good whisky. And they feel that that is perhaps one that nature has intended to mature in its own special way, or a different type of cask. And to make sure that these whiskies get their own stage to be shared and enjoyed, they created the Kvyler series. The Kvyler series is named after burial stone that features one of the earliest examples of the Viking runic alphabet, and to reflect the history of Caithness that surrounds us here. The Kvyler series will grow as Wolfburn grows and chart their journey through the years ahead and years past. There's usually about 2 releases of the Kvyler series a year, and there will be 24 in total. So this is number 16. So the Old Norse alphabet, known as Futhark, had several regional variants. It first appeared in the 1st century AD and has evolved over time. The Elder Futhark is the name given to the early Futhark. Its 24 letters were divided into 3 setter groups or families. And deep in their Thurso warehouses, where Wolfburn found 3 bourbon casks from the early days of production that were in first fill American oak, quietly doing what good casks should do for the better part of a decade and more. This is non-age statement, but it's certainly 10 years or more. There's 730 bottles of this, individually numbered. So this is the box, nice box with a magnetic clasp to open it. And this is the bottle, and this is bottle number 364 of 730. So it's non-chill filtered and natural colour. Sowilo is the sun rune of the Elder Futhark alphabet, and it's associated with victory, vitality, and the quality of the light that arrives when patience finally pays off. And if you've seen the quality of the light in Caithness, it seems sometimes that the sky is endless. And this for a whisky that spent years in the dark waiting for the right moment. It does feel like the right name for this whisky. So I'm not going to open the bottle because I have a generous sample here. This is a lightly peated Wolfburn. They do peating once a year, I think, probably towards the end of their main run. And then, of course, they'll have to clean the casks out to get rid of all that peat smell and residual peatiness. So it's a nice colour, nice golden hue, light golden, straw, non-coloured, and a nice tears, lovely tears on this one. And you can see it's 52%. You can see the bubbles there signifying the cask strength whiskey. So on the nose, you do get the gentle peat smoke, and you get the sea air. Wolfburn is close to the Pentland Firth, and you get that sort of smouldering driftwood. And that touch of coastal salinity mingles with notes of orchard fruit, vanilla pod, and honeyed malt. And you get subtle oak and freshly cut wood shavings, all adding depth and character. It's quite a dense with a dark sweetness. The peat is largely in the background. It does come across as a dry mainland style peat. And that 52% ABV does have a bit of a prickle to it, which isn't surprising. But there is some tropicality to this. Mangoes, papaya, and that light peat smoke, and some limoncello. And there's some soft lemon cream aromas. It's incredibly pleasant to nose. It's well balanced and well integrated. And you get some smoke roasted pears and mascarpone with truffles, some dark chocolate, and it's all finished off with a sprinkling of salted pistachios. Let's try the mouth. And you get soft floral notes leading the way. That gives way to sweet raisins, ripe pear, and delicate citrus. And there's some layers of creamy malt and vanilla developing across the palate. And there's some light spices of white pepper and nutmeg. And a gentle honey sweetness emerges towards the end, and that balances the whiskey's elegant smoky character. And there's some dark Manuka honey, and some dried raisins, some dried cranberries and oranges, which give it all a sort of interesting tartness and brown sugar. And a nut-like bitterness is present. Peat is still hiding in the background. If I were to guess, this falls within the lightly peated category, say 5 to 15 phenols per parts per million. And you'd be very pleased if that's the sort of peating that you like. The ABV comes across as a black pepper and doesn't intrude into experience or syrupy mouthfeel. I'm going to put a little drop on my hands. And it's a very light Highland heather-like peat, not unlike Highland Park. Balanced alcohol, basil oil, lime leaf, gentle peat. Soft vanilla sponge and a good texture. The smoke is slightly astringent, nothing bad, and the earthiness balanced well with the cask. And the finish is long and smooth and warming, with those lingering notes of peat smoke, toasted oak, and sweet malt. And there's a delicate maritime freshness remains on the palate. And that invites the next sip. But before I do, I'm going to add 1.5 ml of water to this. And there is wonderful asymmetry in this. That's the non-chill filtration. So yeah, this is shaping up to be a wonderful dram. And it's fruity, slightly biscuity, lightly jammy. A hint of gunpowder, and the pittiness has gone down when you add water. Fresh sweet cornbread and slightly overripe grape, smoked ribs with an apricot glaze and smoked limoncello spritz. Let's try them out. And water again tames down the pittiness. It doesn't expose a single element, but rather just tames the whole experience down. And it's refreshing to have a whisky that follows the nose through to the palate, providing a harmonious experience. It's fruity, savoury and integrated. Sweet fermenting grape, guava nectar, orange frosting, and there's a light gunpowder fireworks smokiness. That slightly salty, savoury note, like soy sauce running underneath. And those fresh floral notes return that we first got undiluted. And soft peaty flavours. It's like drinking Earl Grey tea. In a gorse bush, or chewing elderflower in rich tobacco. It's quite Moorish, this whisky. With the addition of water, the finish is shorter, slightly drying, smoky with a slight leather note. And there's a hint of licorice in the finish. If you like a single malt, a nice single malt that balances strength, drinkability, a little fruit, a little smoke, and that ineffable maritime character, you won't go wrong with this beauty. It's a little rugged, but highly approachable. Thank you for listening.